Morning, everyone. It's Joe Waxman, and I'm back with another video. This morning, I want to look at the chart of renowned author George Orwell. He's almost become a fixture in our modern society as we look at a lot of the dystopian things going on and recall some of his works, 1984 and Animal Farm. And it's uncanny how I I really think that especially 1984, the elites, they read that book and are like, these are some good ideas. Let's try and implement some of these things. I really think that happened. But anyway, let's look at his chart because there's just too many similarities. It's too uncanny. Okay, before I go there, I actually want to look at the Wikipedia and just make some comments. So first of all, there's some fun things. Orwell, the name, George Orwell, Orwellian, dystopia or Orwellian fantasy, or, it's become part of our language to talk about these things, and things like he coined these neologisms, I guess they're called, Big Brother, Thought Police, 2 minutes hate. I don't know that one. Room 101, not really familiar with that one. Memory hole, no. Newspeak, yes. Doublethink, unperson, not familiar with that one. Thought crime, yes. And groupthink. Yeah, those are all great, fantastic words that describe so much of what's going on today. It's just like mind-boggling. The tyranny going on with social media, big tech. It's exactly everything George Orwell talked about. Big Brother, the collusion with government and big tech and all of that. One interesting thing, and we're saying in Wikipedia is no less a part of this, newspeak, doublethink, and thought crime. Here it says, I know from experience, they're just outright will not include accurate information and outright, misinformation. They're part of the fake news, propaganda media, Wikipedia is. But I just want to say, outspoken support of democratic socialism. Oh, really? Well, maybe he might have been initially Wikipedia, but if you read Animal Farm and 1984, it really doesn't seem that way, because everything that he was a critic of is exactly what they try to do with democratic socialism. Oh, it's so democratic. We're going to take all your money democratically. Oh, go eat a big bag of what. Jesus Christ, talk about doublespeak, right? In the from the guy that invented the term, what liars. He probably went through many political transitions in his life, but I read Animal Farm, and I did not read 1984, but Animal Farm is the direct criticism of communism, socialism, the whole thing. And there's really you can't just throw democratic in there and all of a sudden it's magically transformed into something wonderful. He's talking about, he's outright criticizing the lies and manipulation and propaganda that they use in order to usurp power. And whenever you usurp power at the top, here's one of the big lies, and I'm just going to go on a little bit of a tangent and rant just a little bit. I'll make this quick. But one of the things that they do in order to propagandize people and to make it seem like so different, they divide the left and the right, and they make it seem like fascism is completely different from socialism, when in fact they're basically the same damn thing. It's not really. And the true left and right is not about the fascist state versus the socialist state. Those are both left wing, because they're usurping the power. In fact, Nazis were socialists. That's a fact. That's an outright fact. And fascism is really just a hair's difference. It's just a subtle nuance from outright communism, right? they're all usurping power at the top, and squashing the people. That's all communism, socialism, fascism, democratic socialism. Doesn't matter what you call it. They're stealing from the people, making themselves rich, and enslaving the masses. That's all it is. And freedom is over here, way on the, if you want to call it right, I don't care. It's not about left and right for me. It's about freedom versus slavery. And whatever left, right, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in the politics. I'm interested in freedom. And that's what I'm for. And that's what Orwell was ultimately for. Regardless of how you want to twist and propagandize, saying he was in favor of Democrat. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Stop lying. Stop propagandizing. Okay? He was for freedom. And he clearly outlined that in Animal Farm and 1984. Okay? So whatever you want to, oh, the left and the right, they're just, that's not interesting to me. It's like putting, it's a false dichotomy. It's like saying we have to make a balance between life and death. So we're just going to kill you a little bit and you'll be half dead because we need balance. And they do the same stupid false dichotomy with left and right. Well, we need a balance between freedom and slavery. No, we don't. We need freedom, and shove your slavery up your ass. Okay. It's not always about, that's the false, it's a false argument. It's a false Libran argument that we always need this balance. But the balance between life and death is not a balance that I want. A balance between freedom and slavery is not a balance that I want, right? You can put any two opposites. We need a balance between, health and sickness. No, we don't. I don't. I choose health, but I will, choose to have the freedom to choose, and freedom, we need a balance between freedom and slavery. No, we don't. Okay. So not all opposites. You can manipulate things, and that's what they do. They put two things on the opposite sides, and it's a false dichotomy is what it's called. It's a logical fallacy, comparing two things and saying that we need a balance, but the two things are not actually really opposite. Yeah. So anyway, so he's a Scorpio ascendant. He's actually got the same degree Scorpio ascendant as me, and this is probably why I really resonate with George Orwell so much. He's got his Mercury at the exact degree of my Venus. Okay, but his sun's in Cancer. His sun is conjunct Neptune and Moon in Cancer, right on the 9th house cusp. Okay, so 9th house, opposite 3rd house. So 9th house deals with publishing, right? Books. And he was an essayist. He wrote articles and he wrote books. And he was a critic. He was a critic of politics and government and social issues. And by the way, if you've never read Animal Farm, read Animal Farm. I'm not an avid reader, but Animal Farm is like a kid's book, but it's very intelligent. It's written like a kid's book, even has pictures in it, so it's very easy reading. But it's extremely intelligent. So it's a masterpiece, in my opinion, because it just outlines so simply how they manipulate people. And he was a fierce critic of the whole thing of government manipulation and how exactly they manipulate words and people and thoughts and ideas, and how they twist it, and how they get less intelligent people to follow along thinking that they're getting the better end of the deal when they're not. They're getting shafted. That's socialism every single time. The people get shafted by promises of better life, comrades, for the people, and you always get shafted. Freedom is the only viable solution. And I don't care who disagrees. That's it. We're done. For me, freedom, that's it. There's no argument. It's just freedom. That's it. Just everything else, go fuck yourself. Right? So anyway, he was a Cancer. And then Moon is in Cancer. Neptune, Moon and Neptune. So he's very, he's very concerned with, nurturing the emotions, the feminine side of things, because Neptune and the moon are both conjunct the sun. So intuition is very heightened, creativity because of Neptune, spirituality. He's very high-minded, right? Very intuitive and very creative. And yeah, he has this really intense square with, well, it's not super intense because of the degrees, but Mars, this is one of the major squares. Well, he's got a few squares, but a lot of it, his chart is very harmonious. But squares are good because squares challenge us, and squares make us seek out the challenges in life. Like without squares, we're just going to want to, indulge, and, we'll probably be very skilled and we'll live an easy life and indulge and, have skills and talents, but we're never going to have, the guts, the strength, the balls to take on, the things in life that don't work, because we're just going to be too comfortable in our skills and easiness, right? So we need squares. So Mars is his ascendant lord. It's in the 12th house in Libra. So very intellectual. He's got this grand air trine, so extremely intellectual. And then ascendant lord in the 12th house, very creative in an intellectual way. Like he's a real thinker. He's very intelligent. And yeah, and he's very creative. Neptune is going to make him very imaginative, even psychic with the moon here, right? There's going to be very high intuition, very good understanding. 9th house, the house of philosophy, the house of higher education, the house of very sophisticated thinking, right? Religion, God, but higher thinking, sophistication, because he's so intellectual. He's really able to understand the high intellect. And because he's Scorpio ascendant and Mercury and Pluto in the 8th house in Gemini, he's very conspiratorial. Like he really understands the secrets, the propaganda, the lies, the injustice that they're telling. This was Animal Farm in 1984 was all derived from the early 1900s. Like he was born in 1903, so he lived through the First World War and the Second World War. I think the First World. Interestingly enough, he was born in India from a British family. But yeah, he could understand all the secrets. The Gemini in the 8th house. I mean, Gemini in the 8th house. Gemini is the lower mind. It's the Mercury. It's so capable, intellectually capable. And in the 8th house, it really understands all the secrets, right? This is why Scorpio has Gemini in the 8th house. 8th house is Scorpio's house, so it's like there's a harmony here. You have to understand the harmony. Gemini is really going to intellectually penetrate the secrets of the 8th house and bring them to light, right? So Gemini in the 8th house will tell you all the secrets of the 8th house, right? So his Mercury's in Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini. And then Pluto is also in Gemini in the 8th house. So very deep, very psychological, really penetrating all the mysteries, all the psychological programming, the conditioning, the lies, the deceit, the propaganda. He's very on top of all of that. And he's writing about it, publishing it. 9th house, very high-minded. Saturn is in Aquarius. This is in very good dignity, right? And Saturn's ruling the 3rd and 4th house. So yeah, 3rd house writing, that's the ruler of the 3rd house is in good dignity, so that's good. Jupiter is in the 5th house in Pisces. Jupiter's co-ruler of Pisces. It's an excellent dignity. And Jupiter is a natural teacher, guru. Jupiter is the, ruler of the 9th house in the natural zodiac, with the Aries ascendant. So it's bringing in philosophy into the 5th house, plus it's trine the 9th house, trine the ascendant. Oh, by the way, the ascendant is or the sun, moon, this tight conjunction of sun, Neptune, moon is tightly trine the ascendant, and that's excellent. And we almost get a grand water trine, but Jupiter is out of orb, but still all three water signs are well represented. But fifth house is creativity. It's also like Jupiter in the fifth house can teach children. But if you read Animal Farm, that's basically that's the Jupiter and Pisces element, because it's written like a children's book. And that's what's so brilliant about it, because it's not overly heady. It's not overly intellectual. It's just like paring it down to its most simple form, and even has pictures, and it's like dummy. It's just wonderful. It's brilliant. It's like a work of art, right? And that's Jupiter and Pisces in the fifth house. Now it is tied into this grand, sorry, not grand, this is a T square with Uranus in Sagittarius and Pluto in Gemini. So this is brilliant too, because Pluto opposite Uranus. So it's like Pluto in Gemini, which is this obsessive secret media, right? Propaganda versus the truth. I mean, it's just brilliant. Neptune is, I'm sorry, Neptune. Uranus, it represents the truth, and in Sagittarius also represents the truth. So we're having this opposition between propaganda, secrecy, lies, you know, via the media, everything we're seeing today, and the truth, right? And the tension point, the release is coming into this Jupiter in Pisces in the fifth house. So he's expressing all that creatively through writing, through his you know, teaching, you know, his simple children's book teaching. Okay, 1984 was not a children's book, but Animal Farm was. So yeah, this is going, I mean, this is, you know, the children's aspect is more represented obviously in Animal Farm and less so in 1984, but you know, so we can, you know, we're looking more towards the ninth house, the higher mindedness for 1984. But it's still, you know, there's still going to be that that very simple way of thinking carried through. And these are trine as well. Well, not trine by orb, but trine by sign. So I think this is brilliant. You know, the secret eighth house, you know, Pluto is very secretive too, but it's obsessive and deep and powerful. And then, you know, Mercury is, Gemini is about writing and communication, but also media. And then here, the second house is very much aware of the truth. You know, Uranus in Sagittarius is like very high-minded and really attuned to the truth, right? What else can we say? Well, obviously, Venus is in Leo, and this is excellent for career success. I mean, because, well, Venus is ruling the 12th house, dispositing his ascendant lord Mars, and also the 7th house. So, yeah, I mean, this is very, very good for success. It's got a nice trine to Uranus, and sextile Pluto and somewhat Mercury, so it's in very good dignity. It does okay. I mean, it's not like great in Leo, but it's fine. And Leo definitely brings a lot of fame, recognition, in general. So that's pretty much it. He was born right near the summer solstice, so you can see that by the declination of the sun. It's very wide. This is nearly the limit. 23, 27 minutes would be the outer limit for the sun. So it's that at that height, the summer solstice, the height of energy. Uranus is right there with him, with the sun at 23 degrees 25. Yeah, so I mean, I think this oh, we forgot about the nodes. South node in Aries in the 6th house. Yeah, he was I think he got a lot of his information by participating in war. I think he was in the Spanish Civil War, and then I believe he tried to enlist in World War I, but he couldn't, something like that. I mean, the Wikipedia page is ridiculously long. I obviously couldn't read it all. I just skimmed through it. But yeah, so I mean, South Node in Aries in the sixth house is all about fighting. So he was in the war, in the Spanish Civil War, I guess. I don't know. But then North Node is conjunct Mars in the 12th. So as he got older, he was really into be much more about like creativity and intellectuality, right? Libra in the 12th house. It's very intellectual, Libra, obviously, and creative being 12th. And Libra also deals with justice, right? Fighting for justice and through creative means. Peace, fighting for justice. I mean, Mars is not great in Libra, but you know, sometimes planets that are not in dignity do quite well. It really just depends on the overall chart. You can't say that just because a planet is, you know, in detriment or debilitated, that it's not going to serve a useful purpose overall. You have to look at everything. And here, because of the grand trine, because he has so many planets in dignity, you know, Saturn is in domicile, Jupiter is in domicile, Mercury is in domicile, Moon is in domicile. You know, this little, you know, Mars in Libra conjunct the North Node, it's not really that bad. I think the North Node gives it a lot of strength because Mars conjunct the North Node is very, North Node kind of blows up whatever it touches, makes it very strong, and Mars in Libra can be a little like passive aggressive, I guess you could say. So this is giving it a lot of strength, even though it's in the 12th house. Yeah, the North Node in the conjunct Mars really helps to strengthen that. And I think probably even this, well, no, this, without the North Node here, I would think this Mars would be really weak because the square would dominate it. But because of the North Node, I think that's really empowering this Mars, and it's the ascendant Lord, right? So he's just getting stronger and stronger as he gets older. Maybe he was a little wimpy when he was young, but definitely as he gets older, he's gaining a lot of strength. Don't underestimate the North Node. It's an obsessive quality that really, you know, it's very powerful. It creates a lot of draw, magnetism, obsession, hunger. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. He certainly is a modern sort of almost prophet, not prophet in the religious sense, but like ability to foresee the trends, the way things were going in modern times, you know, and this is very early on, right? It was the early 1900s. I think that had to do with the Cancer ninth house cusp, Moon and Neptune conjunct his sun, really giving him a lot of vision and intuitive prophetic qualities, even if he didn't know that. Even if he really didn't, he probably did, eighth house Scorpio as well, but he was really able to tap into, I mean, you know, we talk about like Edgar Cayce and Nostradamus, and they're great, they're fantastic, and I'm not criticizing them at all, but like George Orwell and Aldous Huxley, they're both equally as prophetic, in my opinion, about, you know, the way things were going. So yeah, don't underestimate the you know, this guy, and why would you? He's certainly a brilliant author and a social political critic. Excellent stuff. Oh, by the way, I read in Wikipedia that he studied under Aldous Huxley when he was young, which is fantastic, because I did read Brave New World, and Huxley is the other prophet on par with George Orwell, and together Brave New World and 1984, they really do paint a very scary but accurate sketch of modern life. It's uncanny, and in some ways, like Brave New World is just as accurate. I don't want to say more accurate than 1984, but it's just as accurate. But it paints a different side of the modern paradigm. Almost sort of like an yin yang, like polarity, that the two come together to make a whole. Brave New World in 1984. Brave New World was more of a common, it was more outlining the way that people love their servitude and crave it, and will mock anyone who tries to live a natural life. And 1984 is more the other side that shows the resistance against the or the futility of resistance against the powers that be, and that you might get beat down and you may hate it, but well, there's not much you can do about it, at least in 1984, right? Anyway, guys, Orwell, fantastic. Yes, I love it. And read Animal Farm if you're not like an avid reader. Read 1984, but also read Animal Farm. Super easy, super fantastic commentary on basically everything that we're still facing, like right now. Like, it has not lost any significance at all. It's extremely significant. And Wikipedia saying that he was in favor of democratic socialism, they can go F themselves. I mean, they're just such liars, and I know that for a fact, based on other things. There are other articles that they outright lie, and then when you try and change it and post the truth, they will not let you. It's not like you can't just go into Wikipedia and change it and put in the truth, even if you are an authority on the page that you're trying to change. So anyway, that's that. All right, guys, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share if you enjoy this content. And if you want to book a reading, go to my website, macroastrology.com. That's it for now. Thanks. Bye.